Hello viewers, we all know that debits and credits are two essentials of the double entry bookkeeping. However, a large number of students and managers don't understand these principles fully, and so they don't know how journal entries may work. So in this video, I will explain the principles of debits and credits in financial accounting in a simple manner with examples so that you may fully understand the logic behind the debits and credits of a business transaction. So please watch this video carefully. Before I move forward and share with you examples of journal entries with debit and credit effects, it is important that you learn these four basic principles of double entry bookkeeping. The first principle is that an increase in assets and expenses will be debited in the books of accounts. The second principle is that a decrease in assets and expenses will be credited in the books of accounts. So you need to remember that debits and credits operate in the same manner for assets and expenses. The third principle is that an increase in income and liabilities will be credited in the books of accounts. And the fourth principle is that a decrease in income and liabilities will be debited in the books of accounts. Again, you must have noticed that debits and credits work in the same manner for liabilities and income. In this segment, I'm going to share a few practical examples of business expenses and how they will be recorded in the books of accounts in the light of debits and credits principles that I shared with you earlier. Supplies are day-to-day use of items in the business that may be consumed quickly, such as writing papers, envelopes, glue, etc., while cash is a current asset. So when a business incurs expense in buying supplies, this will increase the business expense that must be recorded as a debit item. In our example, Tom has purchased supplies of $500 for cash, so we have debited the supplies expense, that is increase in expense account, and credited the cash, a decrease in asset. In this case, Tom has paid wages of $350 in cash to his employee. So going by the principles of double entry bookkeeping, we have debited wages expense, that is increase in expense, and credited the cash account, that is decrease in current asset. In this segment, I'm going to share a few practical examples of business incomes and how they will be recorded in the books of accounts in the light of debits and credits principles that I explained to you earlier. When Tom sells goods on credit for $750, this transaction will affect the sales income and accounts receivable, that is a current asset. Going by the principles of double entry bookkeeping, accounts receivable will be debited with $750, that is an increase in assets, and sales income will be credited with $750, that is increase in income. In this case, Tom has sold goods on cash for $450. So cash account will be debited with $450, that is increase in assets, and sales income will be credited with $450, that is an increase in income. In this segment, I'm going to share a few practical examples of business assets and how they will be recorded in the books of accounts in the light of debits and credits principles of double entry bookkeeping. When Tom sells an old machine on cash for $500, this transaction will affect two asset accounts, that is the machine account and the cash account. One asset account, cash, will increase, while the other asset account, machine, will decrease. So the cash account will be debited with $500, that is an increase in assets, and the machine account will be credited with $500, that is a decrease in assets. When Tom deposits $500 of cash in the business bank account, this transaction will again affect two assets accounts, that is the cash account and the bank account. Since bank account is increasing, so we will debit bank account with $500 and credit the cash account with $500, a decrease in asset account. In this final segment, I'm going to share a few practical examples of business liabilities and how they will be recorded in the books of accounts in the light of debits and credit principles of double entry bookkeeping. When Tom buys a computer on credit for $950, this transaction will affect two accounts, the computer account, that is an asset, and the accounts payable account, that is a liability account. So the computer account will be debited with $950, that is increase in asset, and the accounts payable account will be credited with $950, that is an increase in the liability account. When Tom invests $1,000 of cash in the business as equity, again two accounts will be affected. The cash account, that is an asset, and the equity account, that is a special type of liability account. You need to remember that under the separate entity concept, a business transactions are kept separate from the owner's personal transactions. So the money invested by the owner in the business is a form of liability that the business owes to its owner. So the cash account will be debited with $1,000, that is increase in asset, and the equity account will be credited with $1,000, that is increase in the liability account. So with few simple examples, I have explained the mechanics of debits and credits in the double entry bookkeeping system. If you have liked this video, please do subscribe to my channel for future updates. Also share and like this video. Thank you for watching.